Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering draft video. This is How to Draft MTG. I'm Al. We're going to talk about green in Neon Dynasty today and how wrong I was about black-green. As always, if you enjoy these videos and like what I'm doing here, please click like and subscribe. It does help the channel a lot. Bit of a different video format today, not as tight with the editing as dad life is a little lighter on time for stuff like that, but I wanted to get this video out to you, so let's do it. Here we go. So I've got a handful of drafts under my belt, and I had some trouble winning early on. I was drafting blue-red artifacts a bunch. I opened Tezzeret twice, and I was trying to build around that, and I just found like the deck wasn't really feeling that powerful to me. So I took a look at 17 lands after the first weekend, as one does. And if you're not familiar with 17 lands, you can go ahead, go over to 17 lands, and you can click analytics, and you can go to format color ratings, which is what I did. And most of what you want to be looking at here is the two-color decks, okay? So the average win rate, this is very important, of these two-color decks is 56.7%. So normally you would think, man, 50-50 is a pretty good win rate in Magic, and it is. But the average player that's posting their data to 17 lands is actually quite a bit stronger than that. So 56.7 is our baseline. So when we're looking at stats, anything under 56 or 55 is actually not that great. So just something to keep in mind. And then so I took a look at the different archetypes here. We've got all the 10 color pairs here, and I noticed right off the bat that black-green Golgari is actually winning at a 60% clip. It was 61 when I checked, so it's actually regressed a little bit, but still 60%, so 3.3% ahead of average is quite significant. It's early, it's small sample size, so you will want to keep an eye on these numbers as the format progresses, but this was really big news to me, and I was very surprised. Whereas a deck like Azorius Blue-White, 54.7% is 2% behind the average, and that was kind of lining up with what I was seeing. The vehicles deck not really coming together that well, and that deck just not feeling all that powerful. Is it, again, 55.3, so a little bit below average. Again, kind of what I felt. I felt like I was putting together decent Is It decks, and they just weren't feeling very powerful. So I took a look at black-green, and I said, okay, well, what else is going on with green? Well, green-white, the other green archetype, 58.2, so ahead again of average. And green-blue, 57.5, so a percent above average. So we got three green decks that are performing at quite a high clip, and then we've got green-red, which is actually not been doing all that well. And then the other decks that are sort of doing well are actually black-based decks, black-red, black-blue, and black-white, which is just right dead on average pretty much. So green-based decks and black-based decks seem to be kind of where it's at. Whereas the blue-based decks, we've just got blue-black and blue-green that are doing well. And then the white-based decks, white-green, white-black, doing well. White-red, not so much. White-blue, not so much. So black and green seem to be the early pivot colors we want to look at in this set. And then I took a look. Also, you can go here, analytics, click card ratings, and you can sort by rating, sort by rarity. You can do all kinds of stuff here. And usually the stat that you're looking at, I'm oversimplifying this, but the stat that most people look at is the game in hand win rate for the card. Okay, so that's right over here. And my face is in the way, so I'm going to move that up here. Okay, it's the game in hand win rate of the card. Okay, and if we just go to green and go to just the commons in green, okay, and sort by game in hand win rate. And remember that 56.7, I think it was the average win rate of a two-color deck, okay? And the win rates of these green commons, look at this, 59.9, almost 60% win rate if you're playing Fang and Shigeki in your deck. 59.7, 59, 58, 58, 58, 58. So the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 green commons are above average win rates. That's extraordinarily deep for one color in any given set. And so let's take a look at a color like red, for example. Okay, so the top two red commons, which are Experimental Synthesizer and Kami's Flare, are above average, and Voltage Surge is dead on average. So you've got 2 red commons that you're actively interested in drafting, according to this stat, which again is a little bit of an oversimplification, but it's something to definitely be aware of. So you get 2 red commons you're interested in drafting as above average playables, and then the rest are below average. Even a card like Simian Sling, which I thought was going to be pretty sweet, 55.4%. A card like Aki Emberkeeper looks pretty good, 53. That's 3% behind the average win rate, which is a significant amount. Okay, and then if we go ahead and look at the green uncommons, huge numbers. Blossom Prancer, almost a 66%. That's better than a lot of rares. Okay, Kappa Tech Wrecker, 65. Boseiju, which this is a card that wasn't even on my radar, 63. So huge depth for green. And it helps that green has 3 sagas, and I think you see a saga in every single pack. So a card like Boseiju reaches Skyward, you're going to see that more often, and that's got a great win rate on it, right? And then the other 2 green sagas, which is going to take me a second to find them here, are going to have pretty good win rates here. We'll come back to those anyways in a second. Okay, so then furthermore, we've got our green commons sorted by game in hand win rate. We can actually sort by archetype as well. So we could look at something like black-green, which is currently the best performing archetype. Again, I'm going to keep saying it's early on, but it's the best performing archetype, and we can see which of these green commons are doing the best, right? So Fang of Shigeki, Tale of Master Seshiro. So here's a saga that's winning 60% in black-green, and you're very likely to see these in your packs. So all this is to say that green, I believe, is a very, very excellent place to start in the draft. So I took this information, and I said, all right, well, let me try this. I've been drafting blue-red. It's not really working for me. So I started sort of lightly forcing green, and I've been having pretty good results, and I've been having fun with the decks that it produces. So I would recommend trying to start in green because it leads you down at least 3 viable paths in black, green, white, green, and blue, green. Another nice thing about green is that it touches many of the main synergies in the set. It touches the enchantment synergy, and here's a perfect example. Fang of Shigeki. Okay, this is an enchantment creature, so it's going to trigger all your enchantment stuff. Counts for an enchantment. It's got Death Touch. It's cheap, so it's going to be hard to block. So you're going to get in with this, and if you have black ninjutsu creatures, or there's a couple of like uncommon and rare white and green ninjutsu creatures, you can sneak those in with this. And it turns on all of green's removal. This is something we haven't even talked about yet. It's how good the removal is in green. So you got Master's Rebuke, 2 mana, becomes 2 mana, kill anything as long as they don't respond by killing your Fang of Shigeki. But you've got 2 mana Doomblade essentially here, Master's Rebuke. And then this is the really sweet one that I didn't even realize was any good. And it's got almost a 60% win rate. This is Spinning Wheel Kick. And again, with Shigeki, if you can put 6 mana into this, you get to kill 2 of their things, 8 mana, 3 of their things. I killed 4 things with this the other day, and it was pretty awesome. Now, this could change as the format develops and people get smart and they know how to play around these things. But right now, it's feeling very effective. And another reason for that is that green is really, really good at getting lands into play. So spending 6 mana on this is actually not that hard to achieve, whereas in other colors, getting a lot of lands into play is very, very difficult. So you've got, again, Boseiju reaches Skyward, which puts 2 lands into your hand. You've got your Greater Tanuki, which can put a land into play. And you've got a very important card called Commune with Spirits, which, again, is winning at a 57.0% clip. And this is a card that you'll frequently see, like, with 3 cards left in the pack. This card is excellent. You can replace lands with this. If you're heavy enough green, you can play 16 lands, and one of these is your 17th land, or 16 and 2 of these. I think if you had 3, you might be able to go down to 15 lands. That might be a little risky, but the fact that you can trim lands, and then if you see this in your opener, you got 1 forest, 1 commune, and then a pile of other cards, so you're a 1 land hand, right? But You play your forest, you play your commune, you find your second land, you're doing okay now. Or similarly, in a 2-land hand on the play with a commune and 4 other cards, you can easily keep that because you know you're going to find your 3rd land most likely off the commune. And if you're splashing, it makes it way easier to find your splash color. So this is a very important card. So we'll just take a quick look at all the commons in green here. So Fang of Shigeki, as we said, Ninjutsu Enabler, Enchantment Enabler. It's just a good body on the ground. It blocks stuff. So this card's been quite excellent. Jukai Preserver, solid stats. Enables Modified, which is the other sort of synergy that green can touch. So the fact that green is touching all these synergies just makes it super flexible, and it pairs very well with various other colors. Also, the stat lines on these cards are just good. So it's not like you're putting all your eggs into this basket of trying to build towards these synergies specifically. You're just playing a 4-mana 4/4 that sometimes is a combat trick that kills 2 of their things, and it enables a modified payoff if you should so happen to have that in your deck. Geothermal Kami. This is excellent with sagas that you want to return back to your hand. There's a blue one, 3 blue, shrinks all their creatures, and then you draw 2 cards, or sometimes you draw 4 cards off of it. So bouncing that back to your hand is really, really excellent. And just gaining 3 life off of this is really good as well. You can blink the black enchantment, the Okiba Gang Raid, I think it's called. The single black drains them twice, and then as a 2/2 menace. So just being able to sort of recycle those enchantments is really powerful. This saga we talked about before, as a 5-drop, it's really quite strong. I mean, it's winning at almost a 59% clip. Putting a couple of counters on your creatures is always good. Then it's going to enable your modified stuff. And then 5/5 Vigilance Haste is just big game. Season of Renewal, this is super excellent if you are channeling your creatures, especially. But even if you're not, it's not too hard to end up with an enchantment creature and another creature in your graveyard. Or maybe something like the white enchantment, the Arrest. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but if they sacrifice their creature from underneath that, it goes to your graveyard. You can bring that back plus another creature of your own. So this card's just been quite excellent. And then you've got Fade into Antiquity. This is another 3 mana, pretty much kill anything. There are some cards this doesn't hit, but I think you can comfortably run 2 to 3 of these in your deck, and you almost always have a really good target for it. So another card, I mean, you can see that this is performing as well in game and hand win rate as what would be like the marquee green removal spell in Master's Rebuke, which again works super well with Fang of Shigeki. And when you have cards like Jukai Preserver and Geothermal Kami with 4 power that you already want to play, this is often, just killing almost anything you need it to. Harmonious Emergence is not a card I've put in my deck yet. I was surprised to see that it was winning that much, but I mean, again, a 4-mana 4/5 that's attacking right away is quite good. You need to have the 5th land on tap to make that happen, but I mean, this card is big. Keyword big is seemed to be quite good in this set thus far. The Grove Archer I've also not been super high on, but it is annoying if people are trying to attack you with 2 power things and you have this in play. It's really, really tough for them. It triggers your enchantment stuff, and then later in the game it can remove a flyer. So there's enough going on here that this card has been solid when I've played against it. And then you got Tamio's Safekeeping. I've put this in my deck once. Just the fact that it's a super cheap trick and that your creatures are already quite large means that your opponent's going to probably be using a combat trick or a premium removal spell to try to deal with a 4/4 or a 6/5 Greater Tanuki. So the fact that this doesn't add any power and toughness isn't super meaningful. It's just going to save one of your giant things, and that's going to be enough to really harm your opponent's game plan. Commune with Spirits, we already talked about. Greater Tanuki, great rate. I've had no problem casting this on 6 mana very consistently. It helps you fix if you're splashing, which I think is a very realistic game plan with this deck, with green-based decks as well. And then Jukai Trainee has just been a solid 2-drop. Again, this is a card that's probably going to get worse as the format matures and people get a little bit better at playing around the fact that it gets +1/+1 when it blocks or becomes blocked. I know I ran into that on day 1 and messed up a bunch. So this card will probably be a little bit worse, but still, a 2-mana 2/2 that's a 3/3 in combat. All of these green cards just seem very, very overstated to me, and we can see that they're really performing super well. And let's just jump to the uncommons real quick as well, because you will see these a fair bit in your packs. Blossom Prancer. In fact, this has Reach is super gross. 5-mana 4/4 Reach. That's going to draw you another creature. And then the fail case of if you don't find a creature, or you can find an enchantment too. So you can find the enchantment removal spells with this. You can find Busted Sagas with it. You can find other Blossom Prancers, which is pretty gross as well. If you don't find anything, you gain 4. There's been a couple of occasions where I just haven't needed the card that's on top in the top 5 that I did find, and I really wanted the 4 life, and you can choose to do that as well. So this is super flexible, super powerful. Kappa Tech Wrecker. This is a great ninjutsu creature to be enabling with your Fang of Shigeki. This is similar to Fade into Antiquity. This damages the player, remove the death touch counter from it, and exile an artifact or enchantment. That's going to be hitting like a premium creature on your opponent's side. So this is a 2-drop that is threatening to kill their best creature at any point. And even if you don't get to ninjutsu it in, it's a 1/3 death touch. So they're kind of, between a rock and a hard place, because if they don't block it, you can kill their creature anyways if you want to. And if they do block it, then their creature's going to die because it has death touch. So excellent card. Boseiju reaches Skyward. This is a card that's going late right now, and that won't last very long, but definitely you want to be picking this higher. The fact that you get to draw 2 lands has really mattered a lot. It looks like it's not an effect that we really care about, but when we're already playing Greater Tanuki, in the deck, like, we want to have access to 6 mana, and then this thing is just oftentimes it's a 4-mana 6/6 Reach or bigger, and it's just a huge problem for most decks to deal with. So I've really been impressed with this card. Generous Visitor I have yet to get to play with, but obviously this thing is super busted, and green's got so much enchantment synergy built in that it's never going to be a problem to be enabling this thing, because all the best green cards are enchantments anyways, so you don't even really have to build around it. Spinning Wheel Kick we already talked about. Fang of Shigeki makes this a real card, and like I said, I've killed 3 or 4 creatures at once with this thing. So, and again, Boseiju reaches Skyward, getting you up to 6 mana means that this is reliably killing 2 creatures for you. This could get worse as the format goes on. People play around it, but right now it's a really, really good. Azusa's Many Journeys, again, just overstated. 2-mana 3/3 that gains you 3 life. It's really busted. So those are the top uncommons. So when you have, 6 uncommons, there's Historia's Wisdom that's kind of an average win rate, and the Ghost Shintai is kind of an average win rate, excuse me. When you've got 6 uncommons that are well above average win rate, and what do we say, like 12 or 13? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 commons that are above average win rate. Even at a table where like 2 other players are drafting green, you're still going to have a deck full of good cards. And especially when things like Commune with Spirits are going super, super late, then you really get to take advantage of the depth of green. So I'll show you real quickly. My stats are all messed up because I've been playing on my iPad, but I'll show you really quickly a couple of draft decks that I've had recently. I guess this is the only one. So this one ended up going all the way. This went 7-1, I think. So Double Fang, and that these 2 removal spells are almost always on because it's very easy to have one of these in play. Careful Cultivation is a card we didn't talk about. This is winning at a lower clip than I had expected, but still pretty solid as a 2-mana. Most often you're channeling it as a 2-mana 1/1 that taps for a mana, but it's just not as necessary because cards like Boseiju help you find lands. Cards like Greater Tanuki help you find lands. So ramping is not quite as important with this, but I still think it's a solid card. Double Fade into Antiquities are cards that are easy to get in the draft right now. Season of Renewal to recycle these Tanukis, and the Sky Turtle. Double Boseiju, another card that's coming around fairly frequently in the draft. Geothermal Kami's coming around pretty easily right now. Double Blossom Prancer. Kuro is obviously pretty lucky. We opened that. And then Behold the Unspeakables is the card we first picked. This card's super, super busted in any deck, but really great in one where you're getting it out on turn 4 with careful cultivations and greater Tanukis pretty reliably. And then, yeah, we just splashed a Katose Silent Spider, which I don't even think I ever cast, but splashed it off a swamp and a couple of dual lands that we were able to pick up. And then, of course, these Tanukis can help us get there. And then Sky Turtle to finish our opponent off. So this deck was very, very strong. A deck that I'm playing right now has a couple of communes in it, which is helping splash some white cards. So anyways, I just wanted to show you that really quickly. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. I would highly recommend, if you've been having trouble in the format thus far, start with some green cards. Try to get really deep into green. You can see we're only playing 3 blue cards and 1 black card. So this deck is almost completely green. Get really deep into green, and then you might find that your Tanukis and your communes will allow you to splash very lightly, like a couple of cards of other colors. And this has been a super fun strategy and one that's been pretty effective so far. So draft green, and best of luck. Let me know what you thought of this format of video. It's easier for me to get this out quickly. That's why I did it in this fashion. A bit more conversational, a bit lengthier, but if you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments. If you have any feedback, let me know in the comments as well. Click like, click subscribe. It helps the channel a huge amount, and we'll be talking to you very soon for some more info on Neon Dynasty Draft. Good luck in your drafts. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.